Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Trading Success Blueprint, the Beginners Online Trading webinar. My name is Danny, and I will give you the webinar today. This webinar is for beginners. I will first I will explain how the webinar is going to happen, and then we can hit the road. The first part will be more of an introduction to the company, to AvaTrade, what kind of services we can assist you with along your journey. The second part will be more practical, and that's the majority of the webinar. We will learn the very basics of trading, which make things very approachable and maybe a bit simpler to proceed, constructing a strategy and a trading plan. And lastly, the third part, which is a bonus, of course, if only if time will allow us and we'll have spare time, we can perhaps discuss some analysis. All right, and any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only and should not be constructed or applied as an investment advice, recommendation, or a suggestion. Now, a very frequent request is to receive the recording from this webinar. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if we can send it out, but we definitely upload it to the YouTube channel. Okay, so you can just go to YouTube, search for AvaTrade. You can find not only the recording of this webinar, but the rest of the webinars as well. A lot of content there, free, useful content for you to enjoy. You can feel free to use the question section regardless what I'm teaching, even though almost every segment I will stop and ask if there are any questions. All right, so the first question just before we take off is from Alexander Knopf, and the question is the amount to start. Still, I'm not sure that I understand the question, Alexander. If you can specify, I'm more than happy to answer. All right, so to begin with, as many of you guys know, AvaTrade, we are a licensed company. We exist since 2006. We have 9 licenses worldwide. In case you got a question or a query, you can find the customer service here at the bottom left, chat with us or WhatsApp. And in case you're using a different interface, you can just send us an email to cs@avatrade.com. Regarding trading queries, so customer service is obviously here to provide you with customer service. The account manager, senior account manager, is individual that can be assigned on your file and can give you assistance from the trading side. So customer service, giving you customer service, a senior account manager is covering all the trading side queries, such as a plan, a strategy, right, calculation, risk money management, analysis, and everything you can think about. Usually senior account managers are also trading, so you have the ability to understand and assist. All right, now what we are looking at here is called the web trader. Okay, let me just put that down real quick. Okay, web trader or the trading app. So this version is the desktop version. We also have it in the app. I also want to mention the other platforms that we have. And again, what I'm going to show you and the webinar that we are going to have today is on the web trader. And I would like to tell you guys that you can trade both the web trader and the MT4, the MT5, depending on your account, but it will reflect on the web trader. So what I'm trying to say here is the MT4 correlates with the web trader and the MT5 correlates with the web trader. So I can use this interface to perhaps do analysis or something else that I need, and then if I'll go to MT4 and MT5, I'm still going to be able to see my positions and of course manage them. And okay, so that's one thing you can do with this nice interface, and I'm going to go through features here that can be extremely helpful. Let's also talk about those first 3 are self-explanatory. There is really no I'm not going to teach you to trade options today. MT4 and MT5 are quite self-explanatory. In my personal opinion, the only difference is maybe this one is a newer version, so the ability to diverse more aggressively is more suitable. But apart from that, yeah, I don't think there is a big difference. All right. Maybe you can find more variety of instruments in here. It's also one of the differences. Now, let's proceed with the WebTrader. What I'm going to show you today is the signal section. Let's go to the signal section. There are lots of things here to the left. The first one is more about the information in your account. Okay. The in here it's where we are at right now. In here it's to manage the positions, orders if you have pending orders. History is what you've done, and in here you can see the signals. This is not the only way that you can access the signal section. I'm also going to show you how to access it from the outside. And the reason that I'm showing you this, guys, is because if you go to the signal section, okay, just for people who don't know what signals are and just the general idea, first, it's better for me to explain how it goes, and then I'm going to show you two different ways to enjoy the signals. Okay, so this is, let's look at Dow Jones here. Okay, once I click on View Signal, to the right, there is another menu here. It's important to know it's not AvaTrade's signals, it's the Trading Central. Now, if I go to I can expand it all the way up, of course. And if I go to the right, I see what's going on to the right. We have here support and resistance, which are defined levels on the chart. Okay, but as you can see, the levels that we have here are not the levels matching to the picture that we have. Because in here, the upper line is 42,370. We don't have that. And the lower line, 41,630 is also, we don't have that. What's the reason that we don't see the same picture in here and we have different levels? Because the validity in here is daily. That means that each day, each candle in this picture presents the day. And in here, every candle in this picture, in this chart, is presenting 1 minute. Okay, so to begin with, if we have to match the validity to see the same levels we have here, what we're going to do is we're going to go down. I don't know if you guys can see, there is a thin toggle here. You can click and drag. The other way is just to scroll down with the wheel on my mouse, picking one day. And then if I would like to expand it, I'm not going to be able to, right? Chart is not moving, only left and right. In order for me to stretch it or squeeze it down even more, I'm going to click here on the column price, and then I'm going to drag it down. Click and drag it down, right? This way I can expand or minimize the chart, and then I can go closer to what we see here. And then we can obviously see much higher levels. 42,370 is it's important that you guys will understand what I'm doing now is not mandatory. I'm only showing you, for you guys to have the ability to do things more efficiently and maneuver with the signals. Okay, it's not mandatory at all. I mean, if I didn't want to do the preparations that I'm showing you now, I just want to demonstrate how simple it is to execute the signal. Okay, so we were out here. Okay, this is the default screen. Now I'm clicking on the signals, clicking on the It was this, Dow Jones. Then I click sell or buy, and we are on. Okay, the signals is ready to activate. Now let's go back and understand how to do it more efficiently. Because now in this scenario, I have no idea what's happening on the chart. I'm going blindly with the signal just as it is, which is an option, but also I'd rather show you guys a little more than that. So as we saw, the first thing to begin with is, of course, to customize the chart to match to that. We're looking at minutes. It's not, we can't see the levels above or below. So we're clicking here, scrolling down, making it 1 day. Perfect. And now we can look at what's presented here. We can match the levels and whatnot. Okay, now if I scroll down a bit more, I see that the levels are already elaborated down here. Now, I can now choose, it seems like now it's in a buy type, right? But I can choose a buy or sell. And what this signal lets me do automatically is basically it's placing take profit and stop loss. They are both pending orders. Not too thoroughly into the concept, but again, just to give you the ability to understand a bit better what's going on here. So we have stop loss and we have take profit. We have execute when price hits. Okay, it's less relevant for us now, but it's good to understand again in general. So execute when price hits, launches the position automatically when reach price. Okay. Close, sorry, this one. Close the position automatically, right, when reaching the price. The only difference is this one closing it with a profit, this one is closing it with a loss. In other words, without me doing anything, just by clicking here sell or buy, I'm already going to have the levels here defined by the take profit and the stop loss automatically on my position, right? So we picked that out from the outside. We clicked. This is how we got this to open. Then we expanded it. We matched the validity. It's not a mandatory step. And from here, we can click buy as an example. And in this buy, we see that the R&R ratio, the risk reward ratio, is something I might need to work on. Okay, it doesn't look too great, but the idea is that it happens automatically and it's for you to analyze what's better for you. Okay, and it's very, as you saw, guys, it's super simple. I clicked three times and the signal is already presented. Now, if you see a signal that looks like that, that means that it doesn't have the stop loss and the take profit that we mentioned. As you can see, it's blank. It doesn't show us any numbers. And even if I'll click on the signal, it's not going to let me have them placed. Okay? And the reason that I don't have that and the signal still exists in the list is because the market has already passed the analysis that we had on that signal. In other words, we understand that each signal is starting from a certain price, and it's destined to a certain price. Okay, presented in here, one for a buy, one for a sell. And once it passes those levels, obviously the signal is no longer viable because the signals has already reached. Okay, I hope that it makes sense. Of course, Doesn't mean that crude oil is not going to have any signals. It just means that this signal is already, again, passed, and we might need to wait until another one. Now, the advantage looking at the signals from the signal section is that we can see the recent ones and we can see the older ones, right, by a linear time frame. Okay, and the disadvantage, I don't know if to call it a disadvantage, but the problem is if I'm used to trade certain assets, the way for me to find those certain assets are either manually here through the categories, which is fine, or from the list outside, okay, all, and then I can just go through, right? But it's not the most convenient way. Now, if I'm used to trade, as an example, gold, okay, and I want to know if gold has a signal. I don't know, I don't want to go into the signal section and start looking for gold and when it was produced. Okay, what I can do is just put down here gold. As soon as gold comes up, I click gold. And then it's going to show me that gold has a signal. I don't have to go to the signal section for that. I can just click here on the blue lightning icon. Then I have the signal presented in here, almost the exact same way, opening here. Can match the validity, do further analysis. Okay, if I want, and again, just buy the scenarios. I can sell or buy. Let's go this time with a sell. Okay, and now it looks fine. Certain levels, as we said, that are automatically, if it reaches those levels, closing it with a profit, closing it with a loss, keeping it super, super simple and accessible. Right. This is, guys, regarding the signal section. Do we have any questions regarding that, regarding what I've explained before we proceed? Any questions about the signals, how to use them, anything that I said that wasn't understood? All right, let's proceed. Frida, you're asking how many can we use? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Frida, there is no limitation how many signals you can use. I mean, there is no count in here. You can just use them endlessly. Again, I'm not sure if I understood your question, but you can use it as much as you want. All right, let's proceed a bit farther down in here. So we looked at that. This is technical analysis based. We just saw support and resistance, right? If we go on to the news section in here, we can find decent information about certain things. And if I go through the list here, let's look at gold. Okay, so the related instrument is obviously gold, and whatever is written here maybe have an impact on gold. Okay, very high, very likely. If I go to the pre-European market brief, and I click on related instruments, so I see that in some cases I can enjoy variety of instruments and not just one. So this article might contain information that has an impact on all those four. Okay, super useful. If I go further down, we have here discovery. As you can see, this globy icon here. We have here analysis views, which are certain scenarios that upon them we can construct some entry and analysis perhaps. The market buzz can give us a nice idea of what stocks can be, let's give it a moment, what stocks can be interesting, popular. If we go with what's happening in the center, we see here Apple, Microsoft, Intel, Amazon, all kind of things here. Let's click on Apple. It shows it as mentions. So that means it was mentioned through those articles. You can also see how many times and during what articles. I don't have, I'm, of course, I wouldn't recommend to read all the, I mean, you can, why not? Actually, why not? You can read whatever you want, but if you want, you can direct yourself to something more specific. So for instance, okay, never mind. I don't want to delay about it too much because it's too various, and you can explore this by yourself. But you can see it's super handy. You can also filter it by here. Yeah. Okay, there is a question here from Mohammed. The dates and the times of the news and the signals are corresponded to which region? I believe that it's based on Dublin time. Okay, but I'm not sure, so you can validate this by simply testing the signal section and the other sections to what's happening in the world. You can see how far away the article was released and see to what region. You can also compare it to here. So you can see this was 2 hours ago. Go into the article, see the timestamp, and then see the original article when it was posted. And maybe it will give you an idea. I can't be too sure, so I don't want to mislead anyone. Now, if I go further down, we have discovery. We saw the rest of the things here. Oh, the economic calendar is also something I want to show you just before we carry on. So let's click it. Again, super simple. Globy icon, we go down, economic calendar. Now, in here, it's also very simple to filter things. All I have to do is, yeah, everything here is clear. So let's begin with the date. What we see here is obviously the 18th. Okay, if I go down, I can load more. But the point here, it's showing me the 18th. If, for instance, I don't want to see all the countries. I want to focus on maybe only the Aussie dollar. Let's also not just see it this way. Let's filter it a bit more specifically. Okay, so we don't want to see all of that. Let's suppose that we are focused until the end of the week. So what we can do is we can click here on Wednesday, then we can click here on Sunday, and now it's showing us that this week, this is all we have. Again, related to the Aussie, if I'm adding the CAD is an example, right? Canada. So I'm clicking here on the flag, it's adding it to the filter. Then I'm gonna see, okay, so only on the 20th, we don't have anything for Canada, not today, not tomorrow, only on the 20th. Okay, and we can keep filtering it also by sorry, we have one today. Tomorrow we don't. We can also filter it by the impact. So this one is low. The part-time employment is not significant event. This is why it's categorized low. If we're looking at the retail sales, medium, and we have the high impact, which is high, okay, is an example. So if I only want to stick with the big events and I don't want to see medium or low, all I have to do is click here on high and we have it. Okay, if I want to get rid of all these filters, as an example, I don't want to start clicking things back. I'm just going to click here on reset. Okay, nothing is selected. It's going to show me everything again. And here I can do the same. And yeah, very simple. All right, and I can also search for a particular event if I want to here in the search bar. And the most I think, to my opinion, one of the most useful thing that we have here in the economic calendar, one of the functions is, okay, let's click on that just quickly here. And let's stick with the MBA mortgage clients. As an example, let's suppose I want to add this onto my calendar. I can click here and then add it on my Google or Outlook or whatever else I'm using. And then I can know when this event takes place, and I can prepare myself with analysis and right away dive onto the market. Okay, it's very, very useful to add it to your calendar. I highly recommend it. It's just very good for fundamental analysis. Now, if you were in another section on the web trader, the fastest way to go back to here, which again, I can be here in the signal section, I can be here in the calendar, maybe I can watch, I can watch a video as an example, right? But the fastest way to go back to the default screen, to the charts, I want to go back to the charts, as you can see here, the icon is clickable. So I can click on the icon, it throws me back. Okay, I can expand if I want. There is a toggle here. I can expand or minimize the chart. Okay, I can expand it through here. And okay, so this is the end of the first part. We've done the first part. I think we talked enough about the interface here, and we showed the necessary things. Of course, you guys are welcome to explore it by yourself as well. And let's begin the second part. Now, let's get ourselves an instrument to begin with. There is a question here from Futi Manamela. On signal, is there an indication of win rates? Well, that depends. I'll tell you something, Mr. Futi. The reason that it's aligned here with the timestamp is, I don't want to be too specific, but as you saw, there's some signals here not valid anymore. The analysis was passed. So if I'm taking a signal that was just made and I go with its analysis, I can't compare the success rate of a signal that was just made to a signal that was made 3 or 4 hours ago. Okay, on top of that, we have two different scenarios. So how can I say a win rate, right? We can never know that. This is something you'll have to do by yourself, and it's way too dynamic to measure. Yeah. But you can, again, you can use it as an additional layer. Using signals as a blunt, pure analysis, just going blindly with the signals is not something that I would personally maybe go ahead with. Okay. Now, let's put an instrument to analyze, and to find it, I have two ways. One is through the search bar here. So for instance, I want gold, I could just put down gold, click it from the list, we have it on the chart, super simple. The other way is manually. So to find things manually, we have here the categories, okay? Let's click on commodities as an example. Let's go with metals. Actually, let's go with metals, but something a little different today. Palladium, maybe platinum. Yeah. All right. And to get the right-hand side menu to open, we only have to click buy or sell. Let's go with a buy. Opens the sidebar. In this panel, we have two sides. We have the order entry, which lets me construct the position. And we have the other side, which if we click on instrument details, we can find all kind of information about Platinum. One of the things is the lot size. Okay, how many contracts we have in one contract, how many units in one contract. If I scroll down, we have here the hours, the spread, the leverage, the margin. All of that segment is written outside anyway. Okay, we saw that. It's written here anyway. Okay, but still, there are lots of useful information here, the swap and all kind of things. Okay, and here at the toolbar, let's begin from left to right. So we saw that. We already saw that, right? The search bar. If I keep going to the right, we already saw that from the signal section when we changed the date. Each candle here is presenting 1 minute. Each candle, if I go down, we have here the minutes, hours, days, weeks. Okay, let's go with days for now. Again, to be able to squeeze the chart, I'm going to click on the column price, click and squeeze. Then I'm going to go to the right. We can change, if we don't like the candles, we can just go with a line with the line, yeah. But of course, we understand that if we go with a line, there's some things we might miss on our analysis. Okay, which we can't see with the line. Okay, as an example, as you can see here, there is a beautiful reversal that Platinum was unable to break the resistance. And as you can see, if I were looking at it from the line's perspective and not from the candle's perspective, okay, we don't have that, and it's not. It will maybe direct my analysis differently. Okay, right. If I keep going to the right from here, I can click here on the arrow sign and enable from no crosshair to crosshair. As you can see, if I click on the candles, so I go hover across the candles, I just don't get any information, and it's well, it's more difficult to analyze. Let's put it this way. If I click here on the crosshair and I go down from no crosshair to crosshair, and then I hover, then I have a cross following my hand, allowing me to see the data from the candles, right? And then I can confirm, as you can see here, we are on 1 day. So if I go from yesterday, we see the 16th, right? In here, 15th, weekend, and then again, 13th, 12th, and so on and so on. If I keep going to the right, I can change the layout of the chart. Okay, having two instruments on top of each other or maybe side to side. Okay, let's go back. It's important to know, guys, just if you're splitting the screen like that as an example, when you click on the chart, it doesn't change the order entry, right? So be careful when you're doing your analysis, when you have your things on the chart, to click sell or buy to open the sidebar. Otherwise, if I click here on the chart and I do analysis and I start modifying here the numbers, as you can see, this is still Platinum, right? If I click here buy or sell, then it fixes it to what I'm looking at. Okay, so just pay attention to that. So you can see if I switch back, it's still on that. So right, there's a question here from Mohammed. How can one use the indicators? What is the most efficient indicators? Mohammed, this is an excellent question. Thank you very much. Okay, but let's get to that. Give me 5 minutes to just construct here something very simple, and then we can carry on with ease. All right, now let's get rid of everything written here. so we can start from a clean slate. Okay, we have platinum presented, so we better put it up to know what we're analyzing. And now let's suppose that we have on okay, let's keep it as a buy. Okay, we're still in the beginning, so until we'll have an idea how we are moving on from here, we can keep it as a buy. All right, so let's hear buy. Okay, just to clarify, still this is a webinar for beginners, so let's quickly clarify the concept here. Maybe I should have done it in the beginning, but this is something even maybe the most basic thing, but still it's important to understand the general concept. So obviously when I'm buying something, our intention is that the value will increase. When we are selling something, our intention is that the value will decrease. If we are buying something but the value decreases, we will have a loss. And when we are selling something and the value increases, we have a loss. Now, if I assume now by looking at platinum, this is already the second day that it seems bearish. Why are we calling, why bearish called bearish and bullish called bullish? Who knows that? Who knows why bullish is bullish and bearish is bearish? Anybody has any idea? Okay, I'll tell you guys in a moment. But as you can see, this candle here, it seems going downwards, right? So I can assume platinum is maybe going down. Okay, looking at the area here, it looks maybe more promising. Again, just as an example, and I change my buy to sell. Okay, now based on that candle only, can I now open a sell position? Guys, is this enough information for me to click here sell, or there are different things here that I must do? Fix the lot size, set here pending orders. What do you think? Is it a good idea to click here sell, or I should do different things? My biggest problem with clicking here sell is that I understand that platinum has now an ability to proceed going down. It can either turn around or it can start consolidating. Okay, but even if it goes down, right? How far down do I need it to go to? Okay, until what price does it need to go down? If it goes down $1 and then it goes up, let's suppose my profit ratio is this. Okay, let's suppose it reached that level. Okay, and then it turned around. Okay, as you guys already understood just by looking at the chart we're having here, you see, look how often platinum can change. Also, let me just quickly here show you 5 minutes, just to show you guys how quickly the picture can change from buy to sell. There is no such a thing as a permanent buy or a permanent sell, right? Market always moving up and down, always. And with this understanding, only to aim for a sell or aim for a buy is not enough. I need to know a certain range of where am I going to close the position, right? Now, if I'm looking at this chart and I'm looking at the daily as we saw till now, and we also understand that we need some measurement, okay? Not just the sell, not just the buy, but a price to aim for. Now, if I'm looking at, let's as an example, like at that price 975, and I assume that 975 is a good price to aim for. Okay, so I can click here, sell. If it gets to 975, I close the position. I make a profit. Am I correct? Am I correct, guys? If it goes down to 975 and I'm with a sell, will I make a profit? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? Alexander, you think yes. Very good. Tommy also wrote yes. Very good. Melinda, yes. Okay, great, great. So if it goes down to the 975, I'm making the profits. How many profits though? How much can I make? I don't know that, right? I have a way. I'm going to teach you now the way to understand that. But if I just click here sell, I don't know that. Furthermore, I don't know if 975 is a price that it can get to within the range that I want. Maybe it will take it a month to get to. Now, of course, because we're looking at days and we see that it's been there less than a week ago, right? Less than a week. So I already know that statistically it didn't take it a month, which is fine. It's a good place to begin with, but we need to be more precise than that. Now, to solve those questions, how much I can make, if this is a realistic price, if the time frame that I want to hold this position is really realistic with the length that it needs to move, all these things can be answered with a very easy technique. Okay, target, time, movements, and units. Okay, the sway is also known as price difference. Okay, this way I can know where I'm aiming for. Okay, so first of all, let's set the target. Let's say that the target in this case will be $2,000. Okay, the time range that I would like to achieve this $2,000 will be, let's say, 2 weeks. And the movements, we still don't know. Okay, so let's leave it as a question mark in the units. Also, we still don't know, right? But before we move ahead, let's also minimize the lot size here to 0.01, which is the bare minimum. And also click here on the take profit and the stop loss. We are still not, we cannot, just by clicking here on the take profit and stop loss, is showing us as an example the bare minimum length that I can place them. Okay, it doesn't mean this price presented here, it doesn't mean that this is a recommended price to take it. This price here, it doesn't mean that this is a recommended price for a stop loss. This is just what the platform is suggesting as the bare minimum to use it. Now, this shows us the possible profit. This shows us the possible loss. And we can see that this is $4 away, and we are with 1 unit, right? So that means if it moves this way, we can gain $4 for every unit. If this would have been 10, okay, oh, let's click it again. Oh, sorry, we are with the cell. Okay, as you can see here, this is giving us not a precise number because of the spread and platinum keep moving down. So if I'll have to take 4 out of that becomes a little higher. Never mind. If you don't want your numbers to become funky and be away from the accurate number, what you can do is you can bound your entry to something specific by clicking here on execute when price hits. and then the numbers that you're getting will stay the same. How so? Because if I click here sell, it's based, my sell price is based on what? On this, that keep changing, right? But if I click here on execute when price hits, then I'm asking the platform, I wish to sell platinum only at this price, okay? And then the numbers doesn't change. The numbers doesn't change because it's based on this entry, okay? Let's even take it a little higher. And now we can match the $4 that we have to a precise number. That doesn't change. Okay, now when we are looking at the position, it seems like we have to do some adjustments. The 2000 target that we have to get to is something that platinum has to go across from our entry, which our entry is the white line, as we said, 985. So I'm clicking on the line that I placed, I paste it, and I paint it in white. And I can also expand the chart a little better for us to see. And then I can drag it down. This one, okay, let's stretch it up a bit. This is our loss area. We can minimize that just a little bit to match the proportions of the charts we're having. And this one, let's expand it a bit farther down. Okay. Now, from our entry, as we can see, 985 is where we are aiming to enter the position. Okay, we can see that this is a certain area that might be viable for us to place the take profit. Remember, take profit closes the position automatically with the profit, stop loss closes it with the loss. Now, how can I know if this is an average price to aim for with a stop loss or it's far-fetched? Remember, because our plan is weekly and we are looking at days, the proportions that we're having here is not going to help us a lot. What we better do is change to weeks, okay? And if we change to weeks, we have a different picture that matches the validity of our plan. Now, of course, what I'm showing here is only to demonstrate to you guys, it's not mandatory in any way. Everybody can design the chart in a way that they want. Good thing is that when you come back to that chart, it's going to look the same way, keeping all the analysis on it. Okay, and now the basic thing for me to do is to go by support and resistance. Okay, and I can define certain levels as we saw prior with the signals, right? Certain levels on the chart. And based on that, I can see where are my proportions and where I should enter. And according to that, I can level up and do some analysis. Before that, how can I validate that 955 is really a number that I should aim for in 2 weeks? So if I'm looking roughly at the chart and I compare what happened last week, this is last week, by the way. Okay, that guy over here. And this is the week. This is the week beforehand, right? And this is the week beforehand. What I can do is I can start looking at those numbers. As you can see, we have open, close, high, and lows. And I can subtract the open from the close, the high from the lows. And with those measurements, I can start measuring technically what was the average movement along the period of, well, the number of candles I'm going to take. Now, this takes some time, and it's quite primitive technique. And today we have moving averages, we have average true range. Actually, we can apply it now. I think it's the proper time. So let's click here on indicators. Let's, where it says type to filter, go AVE for average true range. Click and drag it to the right. In here, in this interface, we have different types. We have here the length, which is the number of candles that we wish to analyze. Now, because we are looking at 2 weeks to make $2,000, we can simply, let's say 7 as an example. 7 weeks is a month and a half. A little more than that, but that's okay. Let's change it to maybe yellow, just to be apart from the other colors on the chart. And we can see that platinum is moving 50 on average, 50 per week. So obviously, if I'm planning to sell here at 985, 50 will be 935, which is here. Okay, and now if I'm looking at 50, comparing it with our goal, I can say even more than that. Our goal was 2 weeks, and we are looking at a movement for 1 week. So of course, if it can move 50 per week, 50 per 2 weeks is it's quite obvious, right? Because 2 weeks is longer length than 1 week. So if it can move 50 in a week on average, maybe in 2 weeks it can even get to 100. Okay, this is a range, not a guaranteed number. We should remember that. Okay, because if I compare it, okay, never mind. I don't want to delay about it too much, but we understood the idea here. So let's put ATR equal 50. Okay, of course we could work on that if it wouldn't make sense, but let's say it does. Okay, 50, and now we need to know how many units. So how many units we need to sell to make $2,000 with $50 difference per unit? Who knows? Okay, who knows? Let's go. Target divided by movements equals units, right? Target divided by movements equals units. So 2,000 divided by 50, who knows that? Sergey, 40, very nice. Yes, Sergey, you were right. Sergey, you did the right calculation. So 2,000 divided by 50 is 40. And now let's put it to the test. So in the take profit, where we are aiming to close the position, we are simply going to put 935, which is simply the entry minus 50, right? The entry minus 50 is giving us, as we saw, okay, if we only had 1 unit and it moves down 50, we can make 50. So of course, with this calculation, if we are replacing it for 40 to test the numbers, it matches perfectly. Okay, same apply with the loss. If we are looking at $50 higher than the current price, that brings us to 1,000. Okay, let's do it with the calculator so you guys can see as well. Okay, 1,035, which is approximately here. Okay, and in here we can place it and simulate the stop loss. Again, I'm not telling you if it's good or not. We're going to see in a minute. But if we do that, that will give us a precise number. Same way with the take profit. Okay. Now the problem here is we can make and lose the same amount, right? And not everybody likes that. That's ratio of 1 to 1. Not everybody likes that. Okay. And we need to know how can we make it less, right? right? So if we do potential loss factor divided by balance times 100 equals factor, we understand that this is 20%. So how do we reduce, oh sorry, I nearly gave you the answer. How do we change the possible loss from 2,000, again, 20%, to let's say 5%, okay, and keep the profit the same? Anybody has any idea how we can make that? Okay, again, I'm presenting here the problem, so-called problem, guys. The problem here now is, okay, let's quickly recap. In the beginning, we opened platinum, we had one red candle. Based on that, we wanted to take a sell. We understood that it's not enough that platinum is going down because it can move $1 down and then 50 up, which seems problematic. From that, we started doing rough analysis, looking at the various candles, comparing their length and levels. And from that, we understood that taking those measurements of every candle backwards is very, very time consuming to take the data presented in here, digest it, and divide it by the number of intervals. This is why we have applied an indicator that does that automatically, called average to rule range. With this average to rule range applied and the length categorized, configured to 7, it's basically analyzing 7 previous weeks, giving us an average of how much platinum is frequent to move per week. From the ATR, we took the length entry to the gold price, which is that. It's basically this minus 50, which gets us that. And then we can see the 50 in here. Okay, if this would have been 1 unit, we already saw that. So 50. But because we want to make 2,000, we divided the summary by the amount of movements, and we have come to the conclusion that the necessary units is 40. Now, what is the basis setting the 7 on the ATR? Because, Futi, this is an excellent question. The reason is, going back 14 weeks is not something that I can that I wish to do, because 14 weeks ago is more than 3 months ago, and the market looked very, very different. As you can see, before in here, it looked entirely different. So there is no point for me to go beyond that, right? I want to maintain a certain level. I don't want to take something that is entirely different. I want to look at the averages possible. Okay, now, after we have concluded the number of units, we saw the number makes sense. We saw that this length is definitely on average, because this is per week and my target was 2 weeks. So of course it can move even more than that. Okay, and now I'm in a junction where I can make 2,000 and lose 2,000, which represent 20% of my account, and I don't like that, because that means that 5 positions like this go sideways and my account can be in serious danger. So how do I minimize the possible loss and keep my profit the same? What I only need to do, what I can do, is I can simply close the gap between the stop loss to the entry. Okay, by making it closer to the entry, I'm actually I'm minimizing the possible loss. So if instead of 50, we're only going to go for 10, as an example, then we can lose we can lose 400. Okay, so let's make it a flat 1,000. Right, so what I can do is I can compare the, just a second. I want to give you guys a precise number so you guys can know how to also do it. Oh, sorry, this should have been on top of it since we are with a cell. Okay. And now I can keep my profit the same way, and my possible loss is 5%, right? 5% out of the 10,000, right? I hope we all understand that. Guys, unfortunately, we are out of time. I hope that this webinar was practical as it's supposed to be. And I hope that I wasn't too fast and you guys could understand what I'm saying. But even if you need a recap, as I have explained in the beginning, you can go to our YouTube channel, see the video there in your own pace, and you can practice this as much as you want. The biggest advantage using this technique is it can correlate to any other asset. Furthermore, you can use it to construct your own plan and strategy, change the time frame, change the length, change the quantities to what you think that makes sense to you, and taking it to the next level. All right, apart from that, guys, I'd like to thank everybody who participated today and assisted me with such wonderful questions and comments. You're all welcome to tomorrow live Q&A. I wish you all best of luck with trading. Have a fruitful week and have a good day.